I don't really give a shit about legacy. Do stuff you love. Do stuff you can get behind. I want to not care about what people think, and I want to do things because I want to do them.
Korean American Story and Not Your Average. Today we are in Brooklyn Bridge Park sitting down with Justin Chon.
Hey.
Yo, what does that even mean?
Oh, Gook? In Korean it just means country.
What I'm curious about is, did you grow up with this grand dream of being a famous actor someday?
No.
That's generally, I feel like what happens. And
No, I didn't.
It just is like, maybe I should do this acting thing.
No, because it wasn't a possibility.
Because it was not.
Yeah, it's just not possible. Growing up, it's just you look at it and it's not allowed. It's not like there's no space for you.
Yeah.
And I don't think I was delusional enough to think that like I was gonna be a pilot, like to break through that. Because this is, growing up, there's no John Cho or there's nothing.
At what point were you like, okay, actually, I think this is it. I'm gonna do this.
I don't know. I still don't know. Look at me. I'm still like, now I'm directing. I don't know, like.
Right. Yeah, when did the directing part of it come into it?
I think it became a part of it when I just was sick of like auditioning.
Yeah.
And sick of what people were telling me I'm capable and not capable of.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I know I'm a good actor. People, I don't give a shit what people say. I know I'm a good actor because I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't have had the opportunities and gotten the jobs that I did if I wasn't. And I know what I'm capable of, which is so much more than I've been allowed to do. Another part of it is like, you're only as good as a script, right? So you watch like someone like Russell Crowe, right? He's never really bad in anything. But when he's given the right platform and the right the material and the right direction and the right, infrastructure, he just destroys. So you see something like, I don't know. Like I heard the story, someone worked on 310 to Yuma. They wanted Brad Pitt for that. He came in like, he got the script like a week before and he came in and he just destroyed it. He's a good actor. There's no denying that. But he's been in some bad films.
Yeah.
So imagine being an Asian American, you're just constantly given
Right.
the bad roles. I mean, or even if you are in something good, like say like, Kelvin, he was in Milk. But does anybody remember in Milk? No, because he was like a really ancillary character and I think he had like one line. But I think if I'm directing, like most of the time I should be just directing. Because I will create the right platform for someone else to really shine. I'll create the roles that I want to do, but I'll give it to somebody else.
Did you ever eventually just want to direct?
Just depends, I think at a certain point in my career, I stopped saying this is the end all be all or this is the direction because it's always constantly shifting.
Yeah. What do you want your legacy to be?
I don't really give a shit about legacy. Like I think it's like
really?
Yeah, like I think it's like I have a purpose and I just keep putting my nose to the grindstone and working. Because legacy means that you're so self-important that like you want to be immortalized by the impact that you leave behind. Like making Gook, being on both sides, like being an actor, it's such a self-indulgent like thing, and it's so funny when actors are like, when they make something and they're like really annoyed that people like love them so much for that, right? Like, someone who does like a famous role and they constantly get noticed for that and they get really annoyed about it. It's like, is that what you asked for?
So much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like the other side is directing and you make this film and the only thing I wish is every project that I take on is, am I willing to talk about this for the next 5 years or 10 years or possibly if it's, if God forbid, if it's successful, the rest of my life. Like if it's something iconic, right?
Right.
It's more about, can I have enough passion to talk about it for that long. It's more about thinking about in those terms rather than like this project. How is it going to influence people? Is it more about like, can I get behind this?
So then, do you have like a life philosophy that you follow?
Yeah, like do stuff you love. You know, do stuff you can get behind. You know, I think, you know, transitioning from a little dumb shit like 20-something-year-old into like now being like, you know, 36.
No offense to you.
Yeah, but you know, being 36 now and like, you know, starting to get older and having a kid and transitioning to that phase of my life, I think it's more about, I don't really care what, I do care. No, that's a lie. Like, but it's like, I want to not care about what people think and I want to do things because I want to do them.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Cheers. You're done,
Cheers.
but cheers. Thank you so much, Justin.
Thanks.